Absolutely.
Right.
But I didn't score either of those three either.
He's got a point. What's up, everybody?
Hey guys, it is Scotch for Dummies.
4 guys in a Scotch journey to help you with your next Scotch purchase.
Which could be a compass box.
It might be.
Maybe.
You know, Compass Box has quite a core range.
They have a lot of whiskeys now.
Well, they've come a long way.
Yeah. They've got more core range whiskeys than because they started out as more of a boutique.
They were boutique.
kind of thing. So.
Honestly, checking their website out, they've got a heck of a bespoke offering over the years now. You probably can't get a lot of them now, but to see what they've done, they've been busy. Busy.
So for today, we have Orchard House.
Okay.
So the bottle we have today, and if you go to the Compass Box website, they're very transparent about their material. This bottle we have today is a 2022 version of their release. So it's kind of the second release of the Orchard House line.
Okay.
So it's 46% ABV, and luckily it's in the $42 to $50 range.
That's
so
not bad
it's
at
not it's not really heavy price. It's easy to get to. So, and most of the liquor stores have it.
Blended malt, so no grain whiskey
It
in
is a
this
blended
one.
malt. Yes, that's correct.
And
Okay.
this is James Saxton.
This is it, James Saxton.
James Saxon is the master blender for this. This is his creation. So
He's been busy too. I was researching a lot of their bottles, and he's made a lot. We interviewed him, losing some time from COVID, but we interviewed him about 4 years ago, and he was really fresh and new to Compass Box.
Yeah.
been
It'd
busy.
be great to get him back on. We'll call him. But
Yeah.
hey, let's get to the nose in this guy's.
Right
What's
on.
going on?
Yeah.
it's a
Man.
light.
Woo.
So this is a non-age statement whiskey, which I think is amazing because it doesn't smell like a new make kind of whiskey.
It smells fruity.
That's fruity for
Definitely
sure,
fruity.
right? Apples, pineapple,
Which
pears.
is what I would have assumed with the name like Orchard House, right?
Well,
Like
of course.
That's what they're,
I mean,
that's
it's
what
an
they're
orchard.
aiming
That's
for.
where you, yeah.
And you gotta love too, by the way. I know we talk about it in most of these reviews, but Stranger and Stranger, the label maker, they always do a fantastic job.
Now the interesting thing, so they've got the primary components of this are Klein Leash. There's a couple different versions of that, and Linkwood. Those are the two big contributors to this. But they also
Linkwood, okay.
Yeah, but they also have some Ben Rennis in there. They have some of their Highland malt blend, so they're kind of their overall blend. A distillery near the town of Abalor.
What does
Near
that
the
mean?
town of Avalor.
Question. And
Could be almost anybody.
And most interestingly, they've got a little bit of Colilla in here.
But it's mostly,
Really?
you said mostly Linkwood and Klein Leash?
Klein Leash, yeah. They're probably 80% is Linkwood and Klein Leash, yeah.
I bet the
Really?
Linkwood's where
Little
we're getting
bit of
the
Colilla in
fruitiness
here.
from. Yeah.
Just to give it a little bite on the end.
I will say
Lemon.
this thing smells juicy.
Yeah.
It does.
Right? My mouth is watering. It just makes you want to take a drink of it. It just smells really fruity. The nose is very appealing.
Very much juicy fruit.
Yeah, I don't know anybody that wouldn't like the nose of it.
I actually got a good amount of sweetness on it. Yeah, I got some like really sweet pear, and a little bit of grape. I actually been nosing it for a while now, and it's changed and evolved already. I actually are getting a little bit of wood on the back of the nose that I wasn't expecting, and it's pleasant. I'm not saying it's off-putting or doesn't belong, but it's not what I expected. But so far, it definitely smells inviting. Is that?
It does. Well, we just started the palate, so I mean, right out of the gate, it tastes pretty much like it smells. You get the pineapple,
light,
the apples,
fresh.
the juicy fruit kind of stuff. And when you were talking about the wood, it's there too. It's nice in the finish a little bit. It's nice and light, almost like you're walking into like an orchard, like one of the markets and stuff, and you can smell all those fruits. And
I like the fact that maybe it's subliminal, but I'm catching a little bit of that smoke on the finish.
I was going to say that
Just a little bit.
I
Finish,
get
the Klein
I get
Leash.
a lot of the fruit up front, but then I get like a little bit of a spicy thing that it fades into, and then I feel like I get a little bit of the smoke on the back.
Just a little bit.
But I think it's just for the finish, right? Like it
course.
helps like that spice kind of roll, and it's really very pleasant.
Yeah, my guess is because it's so fresh and fruity up front, if you didn't have that finish, it would just kind of die. The finish
fruit,
would just die off.
yeah, it
And
balances out.
So you've got to have something to kind of carry that finish out.
I see, yeah.
That's the beauty of a blended whiskey. They can do
Well,
that.
I mean, kudos to Compass Box, John and James on this one. This is phenomenal so far.
I would say most like really fruity whiskeys, I assume are going to be a lighter whiskey and have a shorter finish.
Yep.
And this, because of that like spicy little bit of smoke note in it, it kind of carries and lingers, and the finish just kind of rolls on. It's very nice.
Yeah, I'm getting still a pretty heavy sweet note down the middle of the palate. The finish doesn't match the palate to me because of what you're saying, that it's more of a spicy, edgier finish, which I'm not getting on the palate. Which again is cool, but it leaves something to savor on for a while, which I enjoy too. I'm interested to see what a little bit of water. You said this was 46?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm getting a little bit in that mid palate as well. It starts to transition into a little bit of that wood that I think you were getting before. So it's kind of appropriate that it transitions from sweet fruit into that kind of woody, subtle wood into that peat. It kind of like really well. It's got a good laning.
It's almost like when you smoke with like fruit woods or like grapevines and things like that. And so it's got a little bit of that fruitiness about the smoke. It's so very interesting.
I think the water softened up some of the fruit notes on the nose to me and got them more heathery. Is that a word?
No, I know what you're saying. Yeah, I get that.
I'm getting more of what my vision is, like a sherry finish, or a kind of a not as sweet fruity once you add water to it.
I think
it brings some of that.
I think the water. Well, I need to go in there some more, but so far, I mean, it really kind of has that kind of lighter. Peaches and pears and stuff. Now I'm excited for it to get more berries. Are you getting more berries?
Yeah, I'm getting more red fruits now.
I get more like almost like a cooked cider kind of thing, where it's got like
mold,
star anise in it and cinnamon and like things like that are like fall flavors, right?
Yeah.
That are cooked down with like pear juice and apple juice and like red grape juice, and you've got all of these different kind of like fruity fun flavors in there.
So reduced, I got the same. The nose was much more juicy fruit. You said that earlier. I got much more on that, but the palate definitely, the heavy sweetness with water is much more subdued. It's not nearly as sweet, but it still carries that spicy edge at the end. That finish that you were talking about.
I think the finish is a little bit shorter with the water, but I like the way the water kind of pulled everything together. Neat, it had like the sweetness up front, and then it kind of faded into the spicy and the smoke, and now it's just kind of all nice and blended. So I've got everything going on at the same time, I guess.
So who's ready to give it a point?
I'm gonna do one more drink and I'm ready.
So $42 to $50. So this is for Scotch. This is an inexpensive whiskey. And so I have to say, this is starting out pretty strong for me.
Yeah.
Right. So
everybody can drink it.
Historically, we try not to really put price point into the scoring, but it does a little bit. Sometimes if it's really expensive, that
it's going to tweak it maybe a half a point.
Yeah, at most. I was going to say a quarter point because that's where I'm at.
If I'm on the fence, the price might lean me one way or the other.
Yeah, that's fair.
So I'll kick it off here. I'm ready to go. Right. So I think I hit all the notes as far as nose, neat, and water, palate, neat, and water. I think it's really an enjoyable glass. This is something I could just have multiple glasses of in one sitting. The price point is what won me over. I was stuck between a 3 and a 3.5, and I'm like, man, I wish I could do a 3.25 on this because that's where but we don't do that, right? Yeah. So I was gonna go down to 3 and just because it's a really good quality, and then I'm sitting here thinking about that price point, and I'm like, man, you're telling me I can grab this for under $50, and this will stand up against any 12-year-old statement that you can get out there, right? It's blended malt, it's good stuff, so that bumps me back up to that 3.5. I'm going to give it a 2.25 bump because of the price point, so I can get that 3.5. Yeah. But it really is fun. It's a good glass, and man, kudos to James Saxon for hanging around with Compass Box and doing what he's doing. And he's doing a good job.
Yeah, I have to agree that this is a well assembled whiskey. I really appreciate the ability for them to pull from different distilleries to create those layers that you take throughout. The problem I have is it's not kind of my wheelhouse whiskey. It's light, it's sweet, it's got a little bit of entrance into what I like, but it's not my wheelhouse. So giving it a 3.5 is too much for me because it's well done, but it's just not an outstanding whiskey for me. So, but it is worth the 3. Because I could share this whiskey with pretty much anyone, and they'll like, oh yeah, I like this, got this, you know. And
Right.
the peat heads will say, yeah, I detect a little. The non-peat heads will say, there's no peat in here, because it's just really that subtle in the finish. So it's definitely a solid whiskey. You should have this on your bar to share. It's for $450. Yeah, it's a 3 for sure.
353.
3.
This is out of the gate 3.5 for sure. Let me tell you why. Everything you guys have said, yes, but there's something that you said there that made me think about it, and I think it's a little different. I'm going to argue a little bit with you and say there's some complexity here.
Yes.
That it's rolling. We've actually said quite a bit as far as flavor profiles. And here's the thing: yeah, it is a blend. Price point is good.
Great.
If I pour this against a single malt somewhere else, it's competitive as far as flavor profile. You'd be pretty amazed by this, I would think. So the amount of flavors I'm getting right out of this, knowing that it is a blend and the price point, I mean, it's pretty damn good.
It is.
So I'm going to stick with my 3.5, and again, agreed. Kudos to Compass Box and James.
Yep. Drum
roll, Sean.
All right. I'm struggling with this one a little bit, and I'm kind of landing kind of where you were, right? Like I'm in that 3.25, and I'm really struggling with this because on the one hand, I want to kind of bump it up a little bit because of the price point, because that's a good value, especially right now.
Yeah.
I mean, you walk into a liquor store and
True.
you can't find a single malt whiskey or a malt whiskey that's good quality for under 75, 80 bucks, and this is under 50. That's a good deal. The only things that I'm really knocking it for, and there's subtle things that I don't think detract from the whiskey at all, but I'm finding that as I'm sipping it with the water, it's kind of lost its luster a little bit. It's not quite as appealing. It's more unidimensional now. It's still good flavor, and I like the finish. It's just not quite got, like, I found it more interesting neat. So I'm kind of struggling with that part a little bit.
26.
I think I'm going to give it a 3. It's a solid 3, but I think that it's missing just a little bit of complexity that I think would have bumped it up to a 3.5 for me. But still an excellent whiskey, especially for the price.
There you go.
Yep.
Okay, I get your score. Let me say two things to you. The price point. This was 46. You remember what the Glasgow blend and what was the other one?
There's in that 35 to 45 range.
Right, there's two lower ones that are core range for them guys.
Artisan blend.
If you guys can, artisan blend. Think about that
This
for
is-
$10 less. Is this worth 10 more than that?
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
But
And
I didn't
that's-
score either of those
Right.
3 either.
And
You've got a point.
then the water, it's 46. So would you ever put water on this? I'm just curious.
I know.
Probably
I
not.
would.
But
I like
will
it better
say,
with water.
I was sitting here thinking about using this because of the price point. I wouldn't feel bad about using it as a cocktail whiskey.
No,
either.
No, absolutely.
And it would probably make very interesting cocktails
Yeah.
because of the flavor
That's a
profile
good
and the
point.
spicy notes and the smoke. You could do some really cool stuff with it. I'm just as a whiskey
fine.
neat by itself.
Right.
I'm going to stick with the 3.
So that's a 3.25 all around, right?
3.25.
That's simple
3.25,
enough.
Wow.
Hell yeah.
This is a good bottle, y'all.
Kudos
And it's
to
readily
Compass
available
Box.
right now. You can go buy it in liquor stores.
Yep.
And
I think I will.
For that price, why not?
We'll see you guys next time. Cheers.
Cheers.